everybody, to Command Combat Battle Reports. Today we are doing the battle from my game, Relic Worlds, which comes from my book series called Relic Worlds. It's basically Indiana Jones in space, if you can imagine, that kind of idea. And in the game, which uses the Showdown rules, which is from Savage Worlds. Savage Worlds is the role-playing version, Showdown is the miniatures game version. And essentially we use that as the basis of the game system, and we essentially go from there. We create basically our own system based on that. Spin-off, if you will. The idea is you choose a faction from the Relic Worlds universe. In this particular case, we have corporate spies, dark agents, and corporation. The idea is that there are no longer countries, there are only corporations, and essentially they're conquering different places. You have corporate spies who are kind of undermining them, and dark agents who are kind of like an evil version of Men in Black. So that's sort of the idea of the different factions. Let's take a look at the units themselves. So as I said, corporations have basically taken over countries. The idea being that corporations colonized other planets before countries got there, so they got the land and they are constantly trying to conquer different areas. So their goal is to conquer, is to defeat enemies. Everybody gets victory points for destroying enemy units, but they get bonus points for it. They're the only faction that gets bonus points for killing, basically. The idea of this game is it is victory point based. You don't necessarily just go out to kill the enemy. I mean, you do get points for that, but everybody gets points for separate things. These guys are the one true wargamers, where they basically are just going after, points by killing. What we have here, actually, you'll notice that there are some guys in blue and some guys in green. These are the minions, true minions. They're basically just soldiers. These are the corporate barony soldiers. These are the standard company soldiers. They are led by Sarah Lucetta, who is sort of the head of one of the corporate baronies, and her assistant Bella, and essentially he helps her with all kinds of things, even, hint hint, you know what I mean? And over here we've got a specialist unit, and they've got the flag on them, and of course we have this big walker, which is sort of big, bad, and goes around destroying things. Then you've got the Dark Agents, and the idea of the Dark Agents is, like I said, they are basically like the evil Men in Black. They want to deny that aliens ever existed in the universe, and they basically want to destroy all evidence that they had existed. So they basically go around, look for relics, look for artifacts, and destroy them, while other people are trying to get those relics and artifacts to use them, either against each other or to keep them for research or something like that. These guys get extra bonus points for covering up the existence that aliens ever existed. So they're looking for artifacts to destroy. They have their minion units, which are basically just your regular cultists. They've got a leader along with them. They have 2 units of that. Those are the Gammas with, Delta units, I believe, is their commanders. Then you've got Zetas, and you've got Alpha 25, who is a character, the leaders of them. As you can tell, they have that Greek numbering system, or Alpha system, Alpha, Beta, Delta, all that sort of thing. And so the leaders are typically called Alphas. This is a character called Alpha 25. He's the main bad guy in the second book. In fact, all of these factions are in the second Relic Worlds book. I'll put a link below, but anyway, it's called Lancaster James and the Secret of the Padron Key. You have corporate armies, you've got dark agents, and you've got some corporate spies along with Lancaster James, and I'll get to him in just a second. Anyway, so you have Alpha 25. He has this fancy whip of his. I should actually face him here. He's got like a monocle and a mono whip, and he's really badass up close. Speaking of badass up close, you have the Zebnid, which is basically like a spider robot, and it carries a lot of things, and it can run up and trample, and it can use things whenever they find a relic or an artifact that can be used like a weapon or something like that. They can place it on the Zebnid, and he can use it against enemies. That's sort of one of their big secrets, is they are supposedly going around destroying artifacts and relics, but oftentimes they end up using them in secret. And so that's the Dark Agents for you. And then over here, you have the corporate spies. You have their scouts. You have their basic spy minions, which are actually commandos in this. And then you have 4 of the characters. That's really what the corporate spies are about, is they're more about characters and about little secret plots that they can utilize. Anyway, you got Jude, who is basically, I used to describe her as sort of a female Boba Fett. She's sort of an bounty hunter, ass kicker, does her own thing, is on her own side. You have Karis, who is really good with computers and really good at basically being sort of sneaky and tricky. You have Little Jack, who is one of the 2 stars of the story. He is, all these people, you're kind of going to see him. He's basically no nonsense, small. Actually, kind of think of Tyrion in Game of Thrones. I was watching that last night and realizing he's very Tyrion-like. Anyway, and then you have Lancaster James with a lame little hat that I made for him. The idea is he's the Indiana Jones in space kind of character. He's looking for relics and artifacts. Now, since this side is the corporate spies, they get bonus points for spying on the enemy rather than based on what scientists get. He's considered an ally, so he doesn't get bonus points for finding artifacts, but he is helpful in locating them. He's almost like a radar system, if you will. The way the scenario is set up is they are all starting in the woods. They cannot see each other while they're in the woods until they get to like within 4 inches of each other, because they're all starting so close to each other. So this was a board, by the way, that I created for some of the conventions to show off the book series Relic Worlds and this particular game that I'm making using the Showdown system. And it's going to be traveling with me whenever I go to conventions around the LA area or whatever. Anyway, and so we do, a version of this particular game. The idea is that since they're so close together, they cannot see each other until they're within 4 inches of each other while they're in the woods. But the moment they come out of the woods into the ruined village, or the ruins of the village, it's line of sight. So it's basically when they get to around this tree line here. Becomes line of sight. There are relics and artifacts hidden throughout the ruins of the village. And of course, the Volcano Mountain itself has treasures and secrets hidden inside. So when they get inside of it, they will get the most valuable ones, but also the most dangerous traps. By the way, speaking of the discoveries in the ruins, they're not all artifacts, and they are not all relics. They're not even all mundane items. Some of them are traps and some of them are monsters. What will happen is they will go inside of these things, they will roll to see if they can discover something, and once they do, they will draw to see what it is, and it'll either be a trap, a monster, a relic, or a mundane item. Artifacts are within the relics. And so they will roll for that, or they will draw for that, and see what it is. So, without further ado, let's see what our intrepid explorers can do. It started off with a real fight here. Let's start over here on the right with the corporate army. We have Bella leading a group of minions. These are the corporate, the Barony troops. The difference between it is basically these are like the Royal Guard. These are like the guys who are the top of the barony. It goes company, corporation, barony, and a barony kind of controls several corporations. So basically think of like the Empire, and these are the Imperial troops, and corporation would be more like just the country level troops. So these are the top of the top kind of guys, elite guys, and they are fighting a group of basically college students. These are the Zetas, the lowest level. When you choose your army, you basically spend 1 point and you can get one of the lowest level, you can get 10 of the lowest level guys. They're called minor minions, or you can get 5 minions, or you can get 3 major minions, 2 minor heroes, 1 hero, and spend 2 points for a major hero, which is this guy. This guy is the only 2-point unit on the board. These guys, it's 5 of them against 10 of these guys. They get lots of shots, but they all really suck. As you can tell, they're falling like flies. These guys have taken one shaken marker, which basically means the guy has to become unshaken. You got Bella back there kind of keeping them, going, that sort of thing. All right, over here, we have Alpha 25, who's the head of these guys, and he just doesn't care. He's letting them fight and die while he and the Zebnid head towards the ruins beyond the trees. You can just barely see him there. These minions have gone into the mushroom patch, and watch out for violent mushrooms, because one of them came up and smacked a guy in the face, killed him. The other one kicked the guy in the balls, and he's now shaken. The others were taken so much by surprise they have not retaliated yet. And these dark agents are now taking on those corporate spies. They're trading shots about even, and they're about even in terms of ability. In fact, actually, they're kind of similar. The dark agents and the corporate spies are both about secrecy. They both have a lot of abilities that are more about subterfuge than they are about open combat. So you're going to see a little bit of paraplegic boxing over here. Meanwhile, over here, you've got your 4 heroes. Again, these are your main characters of the series. This is a pretty major side character, and this is a major character in the second book. It's Lancaster, Little Jack, Jude, and Karis, and they are heading straight for the village, as are the scouts who are already there, and they're kind of scouting inside of that building right there. We shall see what happens. Hobbs does not look amused, but I am amused at all the action that is taking place across this board. Let's start down here. First of all, I called them scouts. They're actually support staff. So think an Archer of Pam and the others who really shouldn't be on missions but are always there. Yeah, this is Pam and those guys. They're going into these ruins, just sort of peeking inside them, but they're not really going to go yet. They want Lancaster to catch up with them, because he has kind of like a special radar sense kind of thing. He can figure out what they are before they get into trouble. The other characters are moving along there. So, meanwhile, you have the Commandos versus the Dark Agents minions here. It's basically minions versus minions. And it was even. They were trading shots pretty evenly, but the Dark Agents have a major minion in here. And this is the way it works. Minions basically just do the fighting, and then major minions kind of help them. You put them in with minion groups, and they do funky little things, like, for instance, this. In Showdown, when you get your first hit, you're not wounded, but instead you're what's called shaken, and it just becomes, your morale. You're fearful, and you're afraid that, you're going to get killed, so you're kind of ducking down. In a way, you're pinned. What this guy's special ability is transfer fear, because the Dark Agents are all about fear. So, 2 of them were pinned. He transferred the fear over here to this guy, apparently knocking down trees too, and this guy. So now they have 2 guys who are basically pinned, 1 guy who's dead, and 2 that are still alive, versus the Dark Agents, which are 4 that are still alive. So it looks like they're winning that battle right now. As they are here, they killed the 2 mushroom men. How do you like that for a bad guy? He kills mushroom men. And so the major minion now has gone up to this thing, and he's going to try to decrypt it to get whatever treasure is inside. Over here, the fight is not going very well for the Dark Agents. The corporate army is just shooting down their college students, or their, basically they're supposed to be young. The Zetas are supposed to be the young cultists, the very gullible ones that are like, oh yeah, we'll do whatever you want. So anyway, they're getting shot down by them, especially since they have that big, huge device. They have the special abilities by Bella. Bella is a character. He has, all the characters have like special abilities. The corporate ones usually have special abilities that like help their armies and stuff like that, since that's supposed to be their specialty. So they're shooting them down one by one. But the Alpha 25 doesn't care, because they are buying him time to get by. You can see he's just kind of slipped through that alleyway there, and he is going with the Zebnid up to that major temple there to see what's over there. Over here, Cyril Lucetta went with some of the minions up to this little cottage here, opened it up, and what they find but a whole bunch of monsters, a bunch of natives of the village. These monsters have taken up residence in these ruins and claim it as theirs, and so they're going to kill anybody who's coming into there. So now they came running out of that building, and now they've come out and are attacking all those minions, and they'll get to Cyril Lucetta if they get through them. I'm using the Princess Leia slave doll because she has kind of a costume similar to that. In fact, at last WonderCon, we had somebody dressed as the slave Princess Leia with a little bit of mixture of our own characters in it. This is her specialist team that's in place. I didn't actually declare before they were their machine gunners. So they're setting up, getting ready for those natives and whatever they need to do to protect their Empress. And the tale continues, and we'll start down here because this exemplifies what's going on. Now this is sort of the heart of the game, is these discovery markers. The idea is on one side, they look something like that. In my case, I flocked them because they go, really well with the grass. And the idea is in any scenario, you just place them down. And characters have to go up to them and then figure out what they are. Flipped over, they look like that, and they're color-coded. One color, you can choose any color you want, but one color is mundane items, one is relics, one is traps, and one is monsters. In this case, the yellow is mundane items. And so they drew... actually, once you find out what it is, you draw the card for it, or you roll on a chart in the books. And in this case, it's a common item. It just looks like that. But what's really good about the support staff is now they're basically like Q in James Bond. They can now take it, or actually more like MacGyver. They're going to MacGyver the hell out of this thing and turn it into a weapon or some such thing that will help them. That was because Lancaster figured out what it was, and they went out and grabbed it, so that will be removed. They don't know what that is yet. Lancaster's doing one at a time. Little Jack is staying with them to support him. Meanwhile, Jude and Karis are running for the bridge here, and they are getting ready to go on across. Over here, they're trying to figure out what this is, but they are unable to decipher it. Oh, wait a minute, no, they did figure it out. The other Dark Agents got behind them, and the, their Major Minion figured it out. He figured out whatever riddle there is on that thing, or some kind of lock mechanism that he was able to unlock. Anyway, and he pulled out a relic that is basically a heavy sidearm. So he's going to be able to utilize that now and carry that around with him. Maybe he can bring it up to here with Alpha 25 and the Zebnid, who have crept up to the edge of the woods. They're close to where those ruins are. In fact, the main temple is right there, and you can hear there's all sorts of chaos going on outside. But there's also this big madness going on here, and whoever wins that can go after them, right there out in the open. So they are staying there in the woods to either wait up for their friends or to make a dash for the temple pretty soon. But they had to get up to where they are right now anyway. Over here, the Dark Agents are not faring very well. You can see that the Zetas are going down, as well as their Major Minion has gone down, and they're not doing so well. They've taken down two of the corporate the corporate soldiers, which is pretty common, in terms of those odds. But you also have, a commander there and the big walker. I mean, it's amazing they're holding out this long. Actually, they've just kind of held up that flank of the Dark Agents for this particular length of time. Meanwhile, the monsters came out and just started killing these soldiers left and right. Killed a couple of them, and one guy's like, falling back as they come racing in on him. Try to get a good shot of that there. Yeah, anyway, so they're coming racing out, smacking them, slicing them in half. They managed to take one down, but you can see some more are dead because the machine gun team let out on them and just, started massacring them. Sarah Lucetta is in danger. She's like, no, stay in the fight, stay in the fight. She is ruthless, however, so she's going to be able to give some more bonuses to them, doing some damage pretty soon. And the carnage continues. Man, for a game about relics, this sure has been violent. Okay, let's start up here. The alien natives have charged at the soldiers. The soldiers gunned them down after they took down one of their own, as well as the machine gunners also helped, and of course Sarah Lucetta's ruthlessness. She gives certain bonuses to soldiers that she's with to do extra damage, and there's one single native left who is just cowering over there like, all my family's dead, you came and invaded our territory, our homes, how dare you, how dare you. Oh, now I'm getting really sad. Alright, anyway, speaking of sad, look at all of those young Zetas, young cultists, young Scientologists, the Dark Agents. And the corporate barony soldiers are just moving up through them. It's kind of like the Empire's walking through the rebellion there, even with the Walker in there. These are Star Wars figures. However, the Dark Agents are creating a new line of victims, soldiers. These are the regular minions that are going to go up against regular minions, but they also have the support. And the corporate soldiers are actually better than Dark Agent soldiers, but we'll see. We'll see if they're able to at least slow them down, at least be a speed bump. Meanwhile, this minion is going up to... Actually, you know what? It's one thing I made a mistake about, is because even though he's a major minion, he's still a minion, and so he has to be within 2 inches of his unit. He cannot completely abandon it. He is heading up here to Alpha 25 and the Zevnid, so he is apparently bringing up the relic to give to them and let them utilize it. Suddenly realized I'd only done half the turn so far. Alright, so over here, the Dark Agents have been doing a bit better. They've actually been slicing through the, the corporate spies. They've, actually the commandos, which are their minions. They just keep, with this guy, he keeps doing a really good job of transferring the fear, and then they just shoot through that fear into the minions, and have taken 4 of them down. They only have 1 left of that unit, and he is shaken, so he is back here hiding behind the pink flower, large pink flower. Meanwhile, Lancaster discovered that this was a trap. Blue in this particular one means trap, so he realized that's a trap over there. It's a trap! And said Admiral Backbar's line, who the actor for that just died recently. I feel sad again. Anyway, so he said, let's just bypass that. They continued on to here, and Little Jack is kind of looking over there at who might be around there. Meanwhile, they have to watch their back, because that's where the Dark Agents have just gotten through all of the corporate spy minions. Over here, these guys have their new, fresh little bombs, and I haven't drawn to see what they are, but anyway, they're some kind of bombs that they can throw, and they're on their way up to the big temple. And Jude and Karis are on their way to the other big temple, big bad volcano. Here, get a better shot of that. Sorry for the drunk camera work here. There we go. Starting up here this time with Sarah Lucetta and her men. The machine gunners shot down the last of the villagers. Oh, they were only defending their home. Doesn't sound like anything that happened here in America at all. This is why I say that it's not necessarily evil corporations, because after all, it's not like the countries have always been the very best. But anyway, and over here, the Dark Agents have set up the heavy sidearm onto the Zevnid, and the Zevnid waited until the corporate soldiers had already gone, had already taken their turn, so they can't retaliate. So they're being shrewd, and they opened fire and took down took down one of the soldiers and caused another one to go shaken. And Sarah Lucetta is now aware that there is somebody in these woods shooting at them. Let's see if we can get an angle from... That's sort of what they would see, but now with the guys lying dead, they don't really see a lot. Anyway, that's sort of their point of view. Over here, they're doing about as expected against the corporate soldiers. One has been killed, another has been shaken, and the corporate soldiers, you can't even see them, they're kind of camouflaged in there. I'm at least having difficulty seeing them in this. Yeah, okay, so they're kind of between, you see the legs and all this sort of thing. No wonder these Dark Agents are having trouble seeing. There we go. Coming at them from there. They're just kind of coming in from all different directions, and the Dark Agent minions are having trouble holding them off. But again, they are cultists, so it's all about protecting their leader, which is right over there, and so they are willing to lay down their lives for him to stop them from getting L. Ron Hubbard. Alpha 25. Meanwhile, over here, the Dark Agents, actually in this case, the Dark Agents are kind of the Empire, because they cut through the corporate spies, the commandos over here, just took them down. There's one remaining. You may see him inside of there. He's just kind of hiding. He kind of took protection inside of the house. He's kind of hidden in there. Let's see if we can find him in there. There we go. He's hiding in there. The corporate soldiers are nearing the house. Here's what's fun. Remember, there is a trap in there. The corporate spies have seen that it's a trap, but the dark agents do not know that it's a trap. So the corporate spy knows to avoid it. The dark agents do not necessarily, and so they may just be walking themselves into a trap. Sorry, just trying to put these things back up once again. Now the set dresser is drunk. And by the way, before you think that the players are necessarily hearing any of this so that the Dark Agent player knows to avoid the trap, this is actually a reenactment of the game that happened at WonderCon. So basically just sort of replaying it. That's why there are no players here or anything like that. Over here, you have Lancaster James and Little Jack running over the bridge, as it's supposed to be. Behind them, the support staff is running up to the temple to get inside of there. They're keeping cover from all that carnage that's taking place over there. And Jude and Karis are running into this nice little cave area here. I think it's a summer house of some sort. You know, that one for Blofeld or something. There are a few fun things that happened this turn, so let's take a look at them. First of all, Lancaster and Little Jack were on their way to help figure out what's in these caves before they stumble into them, but Jude and Karis, they don't care. They're not the types to wait. They went right in there. Jude went into here and found herself a relic, and it was a power crystal. Increases the damage of one weapon by 1d6, AP of 2. She is the perfect person to have it. Her shooting is already a d12, which is the top you can have. Plus, as corporate spies, they get to start off with gadgets. They chose for her to have a guidance system, so she's a d12 plus 2. Standard, you need a 4 or better to hit. So she's pretty much always going to hit, and she's going to do all that extra damage. But Carrie's here. She just found herself an owlbear. Arrgh! I love that shot. In fact, actually, there's another one back there if you can see it. So he's coming out after her, so they're like, we told you to wait. But of course, they do have the best shooter in the game right there. The corporate spy commando, the one survivor there, is looking out through there and laughing because over here they found themselves the trap. And the guy's like lying there going, found the trap, found the trap. And the rest are kind of like standing around laughing at him. Yeah, they're cultists, what do you expect? At least that's how I'm picturing it. Alright, then over here, the Zebnid continued to fire over here. Oh yeah, he basically gave covering fire. Ah, that was it. Gave covering fire against the corporate soldiers. Killed off the last one. Sarah Lucetta and the machine gunners ran back to here. Basically, they're just protecting her at this point. She ran back to this building. Alpha 25 ran into this building to take cover. He is not a shooter, but he has a mono whip, which can do severe amounts of damage. And now we have a dangerous, big, giant monster cat on the table. It's danger, and especially for these corporate soldiers who have sliced down the dark agents, but they're gonna be no match for Giant Kitty. They have been taking down these minions. There's only one of the minions left, and he is shaken, so he's in trouble. And he does have his major minion there as a commander to help him, but yeah, against all of that, I don't think so. Let's see if we can get a good shot here. Knock down the trees so we can see. Yeah, especially with Big Kitty back there ready to knock them down. Ready to take them out. That's going to be pretty dangerous. There we go. So now we have the remainder of the corporate army coming in on them. By the way, when I said earlier about them not necessarily being evil, I was kind of looking at that a moment ago. I don't mean that they're not evil, I just mean that their corporate armies aren't necessarily more evil than countries have been, or wouldn't necessarily be more evil than countries have been, but let's hope that it doesn't happen anyway. Alright, and so I think that's about it. Next turn, our giant behemoth cat might have destroyed the entire forest. This turn here, this is just plain fun. Okay, let's start over here with the owlbears. Jude and Karis were able to shoot them down as they came out. Most people would take some time with them, but they just shot them down. I left them up because this is just a really neat shot there. Little Jack, meanwhile, has faced the wrong direction. That's because up there on that hill, you may notice that Sarah Lucetta machine gunners are up on that hill. The machine gunners are shooting down at them. Little Jack and Jude have this special ability called Deflect Shot, which means they basically shoot shots out of the air. It's kind of like with the lightsaber ability, deflecting shots, except they do it with their laser guns and certain cybernetics that they have that assist them with that. So He is covering them by shooting the shots out of the air. Over here, the archer team, as I've been calling them, they have, or I guess I should call them MacGyver archer team, have moved up to here, and they threw their grenades, and it's random as to what their gadgets are, and in this case, it just happened to be fear gas, which is very appropriate to be sending that at the Dark Agents, since they are all about fear. The template actually landed on them. I'm just putting it there for effect, so that made those two shaken, and the other two were shaken by a bunch of fire, including some by the one remaining commando guy, which is pretty darn awesome. Over here, the last of the Dark Agent minions has been taken out, but the Zevnid has turned around and is starting to fire back, and has actually done 2 damage to the walker, so he's doing pretty well there. In fact, it's also shaken. I forgot to put a marker down for that. So that's doing pretty well. Alpha 25 has been running from cover to cover. You may have noticed earlier he was here. Now, let me see if I can get the camera back around there. Now he has run over to here and is sort of making his way over to there, over to the volcano. And while of course the corporate people are up on that mountain, and he's sort of keeping cover, which is why they didn't shoot at him. They shot past him at Little Jack, who deflected those shots. What else? I think that's about it. It's just sort of a very littered battlefield with a lot of bodies. I've been leaving them so we can kind of see where everything has taken place, also at the end for scoring. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention about Pam and her friends here, what they found in here. They got speed bracers. This was the relic that they found in there, and that was actually the reason why one of them was able to get in there and throw their gas bomb, because the others, it was just a little bit too far. But the one of them was able to run up there, throw it, and get the Dark Agents in their own type of fear. This turn, everybody took a break from the violence to go running at different things. Oh, but what have we here? Oh, the Dark Agents, in fact, specifically the Zevnid, has taken out the big walker after hitting it a few times with its alien relic kind of gun. It has caused it to start flaming and fall over, crashing and burning. Looks like it's kind of burning from the crotch there. I guess that's the kind of shot he got. Meanwhile, they came shooting back at it and caused some damage on it, so it's actually starting to hurt. But there's only 2 corporate soldiers there along with Bella, so they're actually starting to have a little bit of danger there. But Bella has some good defensive abilities, so that might... Oh, and there is one soldier that's way over here. He's been shaken, but he'll be back in the fight soon, I'm sure. Dark Agents have pulled back and are regrouping from their spanking they had at the house and from their loss from the trap. Over here, you've got the support team that is running through these ruins. Basically, along with the commando, because the village kind of cleared out, everybody kind of left. I'll show that in a moment here. So they're going to kind of clear out the village and see what all is around here. Lancaster and Little Jack are going after the cave over there. They did so before Alpha 25, who is now heading up to that cave. He saw that since Little Jack had already taken his turn, it was safe for him to make a run for it. Over here, you have the 2 gals. You have Jude and Karis coming out of the cave and heading up to that entrance that's up there. Way over there, now, Sarah Lucetta could have come across this drawbridge, but it's looking a little bit shaky. There are a couple of boards missing there. And there's another entrance. There's another cave entrance in the back there, so she'll go checking that thing out. And now the fighting is wearing down as the heroes are going into the volcano. I actually call it Breakup Mountain because this project almost cost me my relationship, but here we go. So Karis and Jude are entering this entrance here. Little Jack and Lancaster are going into the cave down there. Alpha 25 has gone into that entrance. And Sarah Lucetta and her escort are going into the cave back there. I'll show that in a little bit. Meanwhile, the support staff have gone up to this big idol thing, are checking it out, and they found another common item, which is great for them because they can turn that into more weapons of theirs. Over here, the Zevnid has continued its rampage and knocked down these guys, or knocked them back, and Bella has now finally conceded the fight, at least, insofar as he's going to pull back with his one remaining soldier. They are going to sort of pull back into a defensive position because the Zebnid with its relic, and it doesn't start with a shooting weapon, but it does have a relic on it now, and it has really good melee damage. So it's they're pulling back and away from that Dark Agent and his big robot guy. The Dark Agents themselves are also getting reinforcements that they could use against Bella and his... and his two guys. I keep forgetting that there's one over there. But anyway, basically they're getting reinforcements against the corporate army, which they need. In fact, it's probably just about even odds at this point. But that fight really is kind of wound down because neither side really is gaining very much, although if they finish each other off, they might get another point or something like that. But at this point in the game, we go into the volcano. And here's the back entrance where Sarah Lisetta and her minions will be going into. And here's the inside of the volcano broken into its various parts. On the right side, you'll see a big white sheet of paper because most of it they don't see where anything is. Let's go ahead and just start there, shall we? So, Jude and Karis have entered through this doorway and are in this hallway. Looking down here, they can see this thing right there. It's a little, dragon statue with some spice in there or incense or something like that. Who knows? They cannot see around this corner, which is why this is all whited out. There's a mirror here that can be seen by Alpha 25. He is entered here, and all he sees is that mirror and a table with this little flaming urn or something like that. Over here, Lancaster and Little Jack have entered the cave to find a giant worm. He's got his big tongue out going, hey guys, they don't know what he's guarding. Over here, you have just single file. Sarah Lisetta is sort of near the back, of course, and she has two of her minions leading the way into this cave. Little Jack took the worm down, but not before the worm got a bite in on him, wounding him and shaking Lancaster up, quite literally actually, from the ground, shaking a whole bunch. So Lancaster actually went shaken. He actually would have also taken a wound from rocks falling from the ceiling, but he lost his hat. That's one of his special abilities, that he can just lose his hat and avoid taking wounds. So he's not wounded, but he is shaken. These guys are not just shaken, they got wounded, in fact killed, by darts coming around, coming from the sides. Yes, there's a trap there, and the two in the front got hit by those darts. But it is now clear for Sarah Lisetta to go in there where there is a treasure. She can see there's a treasure there, and all the darts have gone, as evidenced by the fact that they're inside the bodies of her soldiers. So the way is clear for her and her one remaining bodyguard. Inside here, Alpha 25 came around the corner to find the tomb structure. I almost said temple, but this would really be a tomb. And all of the treasures therein. It's a whole, horde of cornucopia of relics, artifacts, treasures, all that sort of thing. Just a real treasure hoard for him to get. And it's clear for him to go to right now because Jude and Karis got stuck with a trap, a lava trap actually. Karis fell into it and didn't fall all the way, but she took some heat damage. She is wounded. Jude helped get her up, but not before Karis took 2 wounds. This thing is coming to its climax. In the caves, everyone is claiming their prizes. Lancaster and Little Jack have gone in and found a treasure chest, while Sarah Lisetta and her remaining escort walk in and claim their prize. But the real fight is going to happen over here. Alpha 25 has gone in and is grabbing everything. In fact, he's lifted off the lid of this thing and found that there's nothing inside. Well, there's actually supposed to be a body and stuff, but anyway, there's a treasure as well in there. It's just artifacts, treasures, relics, all kinds of goodies, and he can destroy all of them, but he will be challenged by Karis and Jude, who have just come around the corner. Can anyone whistle the tune to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly? Alpha 25 rushes Karis, the one that was wounded, and slices her in half. Jude fires at him at point blank, wounding him quite severely. She backs up, giving him everything she's got. He's whipping at her left and right. She's dodging everything she can. and she shoots him down right in the nick of time, right as he was coming at her with that mono whip, getting into her face, and about to slice her in half as well. She shot him right in the face, took him down. It was a very close call, although she is really good at shooting, especially with all the enhancements, and hand-to-hand, so it was a little bit unfair of an advantage on her part, but he did have that mono whip, which pretty much kills automatically when he hits you. So that will do it here. The informal end of this is really when somebody gets that tomb, and it's really resolved inside of there, and then we just kind of look at the points of what everybody has. So there are your 3 parts of the Volcano. This took me a very long time to do, and I'm very proud of it. We really do call it Breakup Mountain because it almost cost me my relationship with all the time and money I put into it. But I'm very proud of it because, and this is really, for the most part, to show off what the game could be, which hopefully I'll get made official sometime soon, and also what the series is all about, because as I said, it's about basically treasure hunting in space, like Indiana Jones in space is the idea, and I take it to conventions, show off the whole concept, and this really kind of gets the whole idea across, especially with all the different pieces to it. And you can find everything about it at relicworlds.com. I'm going to put the link to that in the description below, and also a link to the page on here somewhere. Anyway, that'll do it for us here. Thank you all for watching. If you'd like to see more of these videos, be sure to subscribe and check out Relic Worlds as well. And keep on watching. Happy gaming, everybody!